The Brazilian had one of the worst performances of his career, but he was by no means alone in contributing to a shockingly bad defeat. Even in a season as dire as this one, this was a new low. Manchester United sank to their worst defeat of the campaign and set an unwanted club record of 13 Premier League losses. But the performance was even worse than the 4-0 scoreline suggests. This was a total shambles all across the pitch, and few players will be able to survive a humiliation like this. Not least Casemiro, who had his worst display in a United shirt and quite possibly of his long and glittering career. The serial-winning Brazilian let Michael Olise run past him for the opening goal and then gifted him another strike after making the mother of all gaffes by his own corner flag. Diogo Dalot, who remarkably earned more votes for the Football Writers' Player of the Year than Erling Haaland, was also abject, failing to block Tyrick Mitchell when he struck goal number 3. The entire United defence was all over the place, as was the midfield, which was sliced through when Jean-Philippe Mateta doubled Palace's lead in the first half. United looked utterly lost without the injured Bruno Fernandes, with Mason Mount incapable of conjuring up anything in the captain's absence. The only ones to leave the stadium with any dignity were the supporters, who stayed chanting until the end despite the humiliation their players subjected them to. Goal rates: Man United's players from Selhurst Park. Andre Onana, 4 out of 10, despite letting in 4 goals he was one of United's better performers, limiting the damage. Diogo Dalot, March 10, couldn't cope with the livewire Olise and showed no leadership. His confidence was shot by the end of the game and he could barely string a pass together. Casemiro, 2 out of 10, it's difficult to see how he can have a United career after this. He was frequently targeted and gave Palace what they were looking for, chances galore. Johnny Evans, 3 out of 10, the veteran never expected to play as much as he has, and exposing him to a game like this almost felt like an unfair punishment. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 3 out of 10, he is really struggling at left back, and this was another humiliating occasion for him, made worse by the fact it was against his boyhood club. Midfield, Christian Eriksen, 3 out of 10, couldn't cope with Palace's intensity. Kobbie Mainoo, 4 out of 10, a night that could scar a player so young and relatively inexperienced. Far from the worst performer, but looked lost. Bailed out by Onana when losing the ball in dangerous area. Mason Mount, March 10, didn't look anything like a £60 million, $75 million, signing or a Champions League winner. He looked clueless. Attack: Antony, 3 out of 10, not the player you want to lead an inexperienced attack. Couldn't get any joy down his flank and gave the ball away too often. Rasmus Højlund, 4 out of 10, created almost nothing aside from when he was penalized for challenging Henderson for the goal. Frequently barged off the ball. Alejandro Garnacho, 4 out of 10, kept trying and running when all hope was lost and looked exasperated at how dreadful his teammates were. Subs manager, Sofiane Amrabat, 4/10, brought on to try and stem the bleeding but couldn't help much. Amad Diallo, not applicable, couldn't help United in either half of the pitch. Ethan Wheatley, not applicable. Felt unfair to give him his second appearance and expose him to a humiliation like this. Erik ten Hag, 3 out of 10, was left with an injury-ravaged squad, but it looks as if the players have given up on him. And it will be hard to shake the fact he has overseen the club's worst number of defeats in the Premier League era.